If you're traveling with food allergies, the idea of planning a trip can feel totally overwhelming. Where should you go? How do you make sure it's as safe as possible? And how do you actually enjoy it instead of stressing the whole time? In this episode, I'm breaking it all down. How to choose the destination, what to look for, and what to avoid. And be sure to stick around until the end because there's one common mistake that can make or break your trip. Let's get to it. Hey food allergy mama, if you're here, you've likely experienced the scary and lonely food allergy diagnosis with your child. Unfortunately, food allergy parents aren't taught how to navigate the food allergy lifestyle, and it's easy to feel alone and discouraged sometimes. But I'm here to show you that food allergy life doesn't have to feel restrictive, scary, or isolated. I'm Corinna, and I'm a 17-year food allergy mom and food allergy coach at Friendly Pantry Consulting. I specialize in making food allergy life safer and less worrisome for food allergy families like yours. I'm not perfect, but over 17 years, I've learned a lot the hard way, and I'm sharing the secrets and resources you won't hear anywhere else that will help you feel confident living with food allergies faster and easier than I did. From introducing allergens, travel, navigating school, and educating friends and family, this podcast will give you the essential tips and strategies you need to help your food allergy child and family thrive. Welcome to the show. Want to get our food allergy travel secrets that we've learned after traveling the world with food allergies? Sign up and get our family food allergy travel secrets by going to www.friendlypantry.com/travel secrets. Sign up and it'll come right to your inbox. I remember one of our first overseas trip we planned several years ago now. It was a family vacation to Europe. I had dreamed about this. I wanted to go exploring with our kids, see the sights, experience a different culture, and just adventure together. But as the date got closer, my excitement turned into this knot of anxiety in my stomach. My daughter has severe food allergies and a gluten intolerance, and the thought of traveling to a place where we didn't speak the language and where allergens could be hidden in the most unexpected places made me second guess everything. The week before we were supposed to leave, it felt like a ticking time bomb. I thought, is this worth it? What if we miss something? What if we're at a restaurant and they can't understand us? Or worse, what if she has a reaction? My husband could tell I was spiraling, and he sat down next to me. We talked through it. The extra precautions we'd taken to plan, everything we had put in place, I realized that I had done everything possible to make the trip as safe as possible. While the anxiety was real, I couldn't let it paralyze me. I wanted both my daughters to experience life fully, not from a place of fear, but one where they knew we had their back and where my daughter felt empowered, not limited by her allergies. Our family would have missed out on so much if we hadn't taken that trip, because taking that trip gave us the desire to travel more. So if I were talking to another food allergy family about picking their trip, I would focus on these key things. This is perfect whether you're brand new to traveling or you've done it a few times already. My first tip is to start simple and close to home. Remember that you can work up to bigger trips as you go on. Your first trip doesn't need to be an international adventure. You can pick a destination within driving distance. And by driving, you can take away that whole aspect of flying. And if it's only a short distance, it's easier to pack your own food as well. So for several years, while our kids were young, we went camping. There were so many campgrounds in our area. We had a small trailer, and we always had an allergy-free kitchen, and it was easy to pack our safe foods. Not only that, but staying close to home removes that language barrier as well. Being able to pack more safe food and control the transportation makes things easier. But remember that if you're driving a long distance, it can now present the same issues that flying does because you need to pack for a longer drive or you need to find safe food on the road. So there's going to be a balance there. Tip number 2 is to look for allergy-friendly destinations because some places are just known for being more allergy aware. Cities with strong healthcare, easy grocery access, and allergy-friendly restaurants can make a huge difference. For example, one of the biggest challenges of traveling with food allergies is figuring out meals. Most of the time, it means researching restaurants endlessly, calling ahead, and sometimes just cooking everything myself to make sure it's safe. But then we discovered Disney World. and Disney World is different. When we go to Disney, I actually get a break from cooking, something that rarely happens on vacation. Their allergy-friendly dining options and well-trained chefs take so much stress off my plate. I can sit down at a restaurant, have a real conversation with my family, and enjoy a meal without second-guessing every bite. For us, Disney isn't just about the rides and the characters, it's about finally being able to relax a little when it comes to food. And if you've ever felt like traveling with food allergies is more work than fun, Disney might just be that change for you too. But here's the thing, and there's always a thing, right? Disney is not perfect. It still takes a lot of planning. There's tickets to buy and reservations to make and park strategies to learn. And when it comes to food allergies, you still need to be vigilant when you get there. They are amazing, but they aren't perfect. If you're interested in learning more about Disney World and food allergies, check out the blog post that I've linked in the show notes. I also have a couple other podcast episodes you'll want to check out. There are essential tips you need to know before you start planning your trip there. Tip number 3 is to consider whether you're going to get accommodations with a kitchen. So access to a kitchen is really the ultimate in food allergy safety because you can bring your own food and you can cook your own food. You don't have to depend on others and hope that they understand how serious food allergies are and that they know how to navigate cross-contact or cross-contamination. But here's what many people don't know. You don't have to rent a VRBO or vacation home to get accommodations with a kitchen. There are resorts that offer kitchens where you can still get that beachy resort vacation feel, even if you're not at an all-inclusive. Because there are resorts where you can still cook for yourself, but still have that kids club and the pool and the resort experience. It is possible. But I know some of you are saying, Corinna, I don't want to cook. I want to have a vacation, a true vacation where I don't have to cook. And I want you to know that even with this option, you can make cooking on vacation easier. It just takes some planning. Specifically, meal planning. And when you choose really simple meals that are easy to cook on vacation, you're going to find a big difference. And I actually have a whole strategy that I use for us when we are traveling that has simplified our meals on vacation, made it super easy. So if you want an episode about that, let me know. I will create that and talk about meal planning for vacation if that's something you're interested in. I want to talk a little bit about all-inclusive resorts as well. And this is basically where you would not have a kitchen and you would depend on the resort to make all of the food for your family. And for a long time, we really stayed away from all-inclusive resorts. First, there just weren't a lot that really understood food allergies and how to navigate cross-contact. It was just a non-starter for a long time. But that said, since I've actually become a food allergy travel advisor, I've found that there are a lot more understanding at some all-inclusives these days. There are ones that seem to understand food allergies, but there are still some that don't. For example, I contacted the head of sales at a large chain of all-inclusives, and when I talked to them at a high level about their food allergy processes, they really did understand how serious they are and how to navigate them. However, after all was said and done, and I went through everything with the high-level person, he stressed that it's very important to check with every single resort to check their processes and procedures before booking. And so that is one of the things that I do as a food allergy travel agent. And even in the first little while, I am noticing that some resorts are much more knowledgeable than others. And there are some that are really good with procedures in place and some that don't. So I think that my tune is changing a bit. I think that finding an all-inclusive that can properly manage food allergies is possible, as long as you ask lots of questions and really dig in to see if they do their due diligence. So if it feels overwhelming to you, I can help. I can use my experience to ask the questions and curate the options for your needs. You don't have to do it alone. Okay, tip number 4 is to prioritize medical access. And there was a time when having really close hospitals was essential, but Because of the newest anaphylaxis practice parameters, you do not necessarily need to go to the hospital if a reaction occurs. So being really close to medical access may not be as important. Even so, you must speak with your allergist to discuss your personal risk factors and guidance about your specific situation. I'm going to post a link to the anaphylaxis practice parameters in the show notes, but again, consult your allergist about this whole situation before you choose a travel location. Another tip when it comes to medical access is to remember look up how to say key allergy phrases if you're in a different country with different language. Things like severe food allergy and epinephrine in the local language will really help. And also, one quick tip is to know what the emergency number is in the country that you're going to, because it's not 911 worldwide. Now let's go to tip number 5, which is to pack for success. And we already talked about bringing safe snacks and meals, even if you think you won't need them. But what about some other things? What else we might need to bring on a trip? And the first thing is to have extra epinephrine. You can definitely confirm this with your allergist, but I like to suggest that you bring 4. 2 that you're going to carry every day with you wherever you go, and 2 to leave in the hotel in case you lose or use the first 2. Remember, it's not easy to get replacement medication in another country, and even in the same country, sometimes across states and provincial borders, it's hard to get those prescriptions filled. So you do not want to spend your vacation trying to get new epinephrine, because without it, you still have to eat, or your child still has to eat. And eating without epinephrine is not a good idea, especially while traveling. So make sure you have a backup set and that they are not expired. It's also important to have a letter from your allergist saying that you need to carry epinephrine and safe foods while traveling. This letter is going to be really helpful at security and possibly at customs too. Lastly, don't forget other antihistamines or medications and an epinephrine carrying bag, one that cools if you're going to a hot destination. And we really like the one made by Frio. And the last thing to pack is your anaphylaxis emergency plan. Even if you feel like you know exactly what to do not leave home without this, because in an emergency, when you're in a different place, it can be easy to forget what you need to know. And so having that plan ready and available with your epinephrine is going to make sure that you don't forget. Tip number 6 is to research food options in advance, because a great food allergy destination is one with safe food options. And as we mentioned, if you want to travel with the least dependence on whether others take the right precautions, it would be good to get accommodation with a kitchen and cook foods yourself. This way, you're going to bring all the non-perishables like pasta, granola bars, bread, because having all of these is going to lower your stress and add safety. Then, to complement, you're going to find 2 to 3 restaurants nearby that might be allergy friendly. And this is just going to help you have that ability to go out every once in a while. But you're going to have to contact them in advance, so you don't spend most of your time searching while you're on vacation. Because the more things you have figured out in advance means the more relaxing time you're going to have. Don't wait till you get there to pre-vet the restaurants, because otherwise, you're going to be searching and not be sure, and it's just going to add that unnecessary stress to your vacation. Then when you get there, use your gut. If they don't seem to understand or they don't take it seriously, find somewhere else. That's why I always try to find 2 to 3 places so that there's always a backup. But let's just backtrack and talk about grocery shopping for a second. You need to know that no matter where you're going, grocery shopping has the potential to be very stressful when you have food allergies. Different stores have different layouts, and different states or provinces have different products, not to mention different countries. This means that if you depend on grocery shopping when you get there, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to find safe foods. It's kind of like when you were first diagnosed and the grocery shopping felt really hard because it seemed like the allergen was in everything. The same can happen when you're in a new place. And that is not what we want on vacation. So the solution that I find is to bring non-perishables so that you just need to find things like meat and veggies once you're there. That way you're not reading labels or trying to figure out label laws. You just have to buy those fresh fruits, veggies, and meats. Before you go, identify grocery stores that are near where you're staying so you know where you're going when you get there. And tip number 7 is to consider your stress level. Traveling with food allergies is about building confidence, not testing limits. It's important to remember this as you're going about your planning. I hope these tips have helped you give the confidence you need, but remember, you can get help with planning. I can take the stress and the guesswork out of the planning phase because I understand what's important when traveling with food allergies. I have many years' experience and I've been all over the world. I can help you source, book, and plan your allergy-friendly accommodations and trip details and give you deep support when you need it. You don't have to do it alone. If you're ready to book, go to www.friendlypantry.com/travel advisor or email me at corinna.meckleborg@fora.travel. So what tip was most helpful for you? Let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram. My new travel advisor handle is @foodallergytraveladvisor, all one word. Let me know what travel topics you want me to cover in future podcasts. I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and bye for now. Before you go, Mama, if you love this episode and want deeper support, head over to friendlypantry.com to see how we can partner together to keep your food allergy child safer and worry less. There's no need for wasting time searching all over Instagram, TikTok, and the web to get the practical knowledge you need for your family. While you're there, grab your free Food Allergy Kids Empowerment Guide or the newly diagnosed checklist today. Topics are not medical advice and are the opinions, views, and property of Friendly Pantry Consulting Incorporated. All rights reserved. Always contact your board-certified allergist, immunologist for health advice.